To do, sir. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were all meant to shine as children. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Sir, I just want to say thank you. You saved my life.
Thank you, sir. All of you.
Anybody ever see that movie, Coach Carter? It's a really powerful movie. I'll give you the backstory to it. This is Richmond High. It's an inner city school. They have a basketball team. They asked Coach Carter, who was a star on the team and holds records, if he'll come back and coach the team. He's a successful businessman. He says, I will under one condition. He says, you know and I know that 60% of these young men are going to end up in jail or prison right after they get out of high school unless they have an education so they can make a life for themselves. He says, so if I come to coach this team, they're going to have to sign an academic contract that they're going to keep their grades at a certain level. That's their future. That's the only hope they're going to have. The school agrees to it. He goes into the team and he shares that information with them. And everybody but Timmy Cruz, the last guy, who stands up and gives a soliloquy. A soliloquy is when you stand up and you give a talk by yourself. But Timmy's a hard nut to crack. He doesn't want to comply. He's got tough times on the street, and finally he comes back and the coach says too late, and the team decides to help him out. There's a lot of physical preparation they have to do, and they all share in it. So many runs, so many sit-ups, so many push-ups, and Timmy's on the team. And they go 13-0 or 14-0, and then Coach Carter gets their academic record, and half of them are failing. The coach changed the doors to the gymnasium. No more practice, no more games. They're ready to go to the States. And they're not going to go to the States if they don't continue to play. He gets the team together. He says, you made me a promise. Well, the students are upset. Their families are upset. They call a school board meeting. Coach goes to the school board meeting. They want him to let them play. And coach says, you're not doing these gentlemen any favors. Statistics show half of them are going to end up in jail or prison. They need an education. And they decide to override the coach's will. And the coach says, fine, I quit. See, the coach has a standard. So what you see when the video starts is he has found the chain that they've taken off the doors. He's put it in his box and he's going to the back of the gym where his office is to get his stuff so he can leave, and he walks in there and what he sees is his boys. We decided to finish what we started, Coach. And we have shit to do, so leave us be. And there are teachers who volunteered because they understand the value of an education as well and the value of a commitment. Your deepest fear is not that you're inadequate. Your deepest fear is that you're powerful beyond measure. It is the light and not the darkness that frightens you. Playing small doesn't serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so people around you don't feel inadequate. We were all meant to shine as children do. Not in some of us, but in each and every one of us. And when you choose to let your light shine, you automatically give people around you the permission to do the same. When you're liberated from your fear, your presence automatically liberates people around you from their fears as well. You have an opportunity to do something different. And that's not to shrink back. It's to keep your word, to keep your commitment, to start what you finished and to finish well. A C in this class might be your best day because you stayed. You made a commitment to see it through to the end. I will do everything I can to make sure you get an A. You need to put the effort in to get that A. Today we get serious. Your deepest fear is not that you're inadequate. You've been told all the way through high school that you probably don't care what you think. Just learn how to pass the FCAT test. Well, that doesn't apply in my class. I'm here to help you see the light. If one of you will step forward, others will step forward as well. My job is to help you see that light. And we'll do it through sharing and through conversation, discussions, and then I will present lectures to you. And if you have questions, you need to overcome the fear of the darkness and walk in the light. Become enlightened by asking questions. There are no such things as stupid questions in my class. Just questions that don't get answered. Can we all be on the same page? Yeah. Okay. Did I share that I was a provocateur? Day one, people. I shared with you on Monday that the day you're born, the minute you're born, you're put in this invisible box that's bounded by rules that reflect values that become your first code of ethics. These rules are based on principles. So today I want to establish the two principles that we use in our society, mostly in the Western world, from which we derive our theories, from which we decide how we could apply the rules to our code of conduct. So human behavior is what we're going to study today. Human behavior is real easy. It's only got three parts. Human behavior has a motive that produces an action that yields a consequence. Human behavior is that simple. Hopefully over in the land of Mordor, the psychology people tell you the same thing. About 2,700 years ago, a Greek gentleman named Aristotle. By the way, taking notes might help you do better. It's up to you. I don't mean to pigeonhole anyone, but taking notes always helps. These fingers have memory, or on your computer, these fingers have memory. And the more you use your finger, the more your brain will probably be able to remember. Aristotle said that what's important is the consequence of our action. If the action produces a desired consequence, we're going to call the action a good action. Because he's a Greek, he gives this a Greek word, and it's called teleology. It's two Greek words. Ology means the study of. Telos. Telos are ends, purposes, or consequences. So teleology is the study of consequences. Did our action produce a desired consequence? For example, why did you all wear clothes today? That's right, you get busted if you show up without clothes. Now that's always an interesting paradigm for me. You didn't pop into the world dressed, you popped into the world naked. And everybody said, oh, how beautiful, what a darling, what a handsome, and now suddenly you're an adult and don't you dare walk outside without your grip. Yeah, because someone will bust you. Go figure society, right? In other words, you had a purpose in mind when you put your clothes on. Now, for you, maybe it didn't matter. You just grabbed a couple of pieces and put them on because you didn't want to get a ticket for being naked. Me, I got to look pretty, so I had to dress the way I do. But either way, we have a purpose for everything we do. Why did you eat the food that you ate today? Sometimes it's just to put food in your face because you need an energy exchange. Sometimes you're trying to do something with your body. Either lose weight, gain weight, whatever it is. In other words, life is purpose-driven. Aristotle was right. We do things for a reason. Everything we do is for a reason, even when the reason is inconsequential. We do things because life requires that we do things for reasons. And all of us is involved in that reason-making system. Everybody follow that? Aristotle was right. Now, the problem with theory is all theories that are good have an upside, but they also have a downside. For example, I'm going to assume that you all came here to get an education because you've been told if you have more education, you get a better job. If you get a better job, you probably get more money. You get more money, you can have the lifestyle, hopefully, that you're looking for. So that's an assumption I'm going to make. Now, How do you do that? Well, I'm going to assume one of the ways is in education. And I would probably be right if you get a good degree, you go on maybe to the 4-year school, however far you want to go, and it turns into a good job and turns into enough wealth for you to feel satisfied with your lifestyle. You won't regret that you came to school. This is the hardest job you pay to go to, but it may actually be worthwhile. You won't know that until you get out of school to see how your job is. But if it does, you're going to say that this was a good thing because it produced a desired consequence. Are you with me? Okay, that's not the only way to make money. It's a $2 ticket. The odds range from 174 million to 384 million against you, but someone's going to win. This is closer. This is probably about 1.8 miles away. Someone right here in Newport Richey, 168 million. He left town too. After he told everybody he won, you better get out of town. But you know, society says, well, that's not really so good because the people who play the lottery are usually poor. They don't have enough money. They're betting on odds that there's no way they're going to win. But it is acceptable because we have a lottery. And if you win, I can't imagine someone saying, I wish I'd have gone ahead and spent that $2 on a beer down at Nico's last night because it produced the desired consequence. Do I have anybody going into law enforcement here? I don't want to step on any toes. Now, I'm not endorsing this, but when I got out of the military, I worked in the county jail for 4 years, a parole office for another year, and as it turns out, most crimes go unsolved and unreported. People don't want to be involved. I asked a guy in the county jail one day, I said, why do you do what you do, man? Why do you want to be a criminal? He says, well, I make my own hours. I work when I want to. I don't owe taxes. Money's real good. It's hard to argue with that, except when you get busted, you do time. He says, yeah, I can do a nickel here, I can do a dime there. I don't live in debt like you do. So I make friends with the police wherever I go. One of them is Mike Welsh. He was a sergeant in the Michigan State Police. He bumped into me one day, so I got one you've never heard of before. Anybody from Michigan? So this is down in Bloomfield Hills, just above Detroit. He says, there's this guy living in Bloomfield Hills, very wealthy, employs lots of people. Drove home in his BMW 7 Series, about $135,000. Parks in the driveway, goes in, has dinner with mama, goes to bed, comes out the next morning, and this is a true story, and the bimmer's not there in the driveway. The guy's freaking out. That's 135 round. Calls the police. They come. They do an investigation. He's got to go to work. He's got hundreds of employees, a multi-million, big business. Goes to work, can't keep his mind on work. 2 o'clock in the afternoon, someone brings him home. He gets home. He looks in the drive, and there's his bimmer back in the driveway. And under the windshield wipers, a note with a little card. It says, sorry for the inconvenience. I'm a master mechanic. My wife's water broke driving through yesterday. I needed a vehicle. I didn't hurt your car. I detailed it, and to make it right, 2 Twilight double-header tickets to the Detroit Tigers. Guy got his baby back. Goes inside, dresses mom up. They go out for dinner. They go to the Tigers. Tigers win both games. They get home about 1:30 in the morning. They never wanted the bimmer. They needed him out of the house so they could get the real expensive stuff.